This video is about Hope. He was a teacher, until a tycoon stopped his car. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In the heart of a bustling city, there lived a high school teacher named Jacob Reynolds. Every morning he pedaled his old bicycle through the winding streets, relishing the cool breeze against his face as he made his way to Emerson Academy. The school was modest, its walls painted in stories of students who once roamed its halls. Jacob had devoted over a decade of his life there, teaching history, but more importantly, he inspired hope and resilience in his students. Jacob believed that education was not merely about academic prowess. It was about equipping young minds with the tools to navigate life's challenges. His classroom was a sanctuary for students who felt unseen and unheard. He had an uncanny ability to see beyond grades and assignments. He saw potential and promise. Each day he poured his heart into his lessons, sharing stories of great leaders, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and the power of kindness. However, as much as he cherished his role as an educator, Jacob faced struggles of his own. His salary barely covered the bills. He often found himself skipping meals to make sure his students had supplies. The school was underfunded, and resources were sparse. He used to dream of hosting a debate team or a book fair, but those dreams felt distant. One fateful afternoon, as Jacob made his way home, his bicycle broke down. Frustrated but determined, he pushed it along the sidewalk. That's when he spotted a sleek black car idling at a red light. Inside was Victor Kincaid, a wealthy tycoon known for his iron grip on the city's business landscape. Kincaid was a man who had built his empire on the shoulders of others, often disregarding the very communities that supported him. Jacob had heard about Kincaid's philanthropic efforts, but they felt hollow against the backdrop of his ruthless business practices. As he continued to struggle with his bike, Kincaid rolled down his window. "Need a lift?" he called out, his voice smooth yet devoid of warmth. Jacob paused, hesitating. "No, thank you. I'm fine," he replied, brushing off the offer, unwilling to accept help from someone whose reputation preceded him. But Kincaid persisted. "Don't be foolish. You're obviously having trouble. Hop in. It's just a short ride," Kincaid insisted, a hint of impatience creeping into his tone. With a sigh, Jacob relented, believing it would be quicker than continuing his trek on foot. He climbed into the plush leather seat, feeling out of place but grateful for the ride. As they drove through the city, Jacob remained silent, contemplating the world outside. The vibrant murals on the walls seemed to speak of struggles and triumphs, of dreams deferred but never forgotten. Kincaid, sensing Jacob's discomfort, decided to break the silence. "So what do you do?" he asked casually, a glimmer of curiosity in his eyes. "I'm a teacher at Emerson Academy," Jacob replied, his voice steady. "I teach history." Kincaid chuckled lightly. "Ah, the noble profession. Do you really think you're making a difference?" Jacob's heart raced. Every day, teaching isn't just about facts. It's about helping young people find their paths. It matters. For a moment, Kincaid was quiet. Jacob could see a flicker of something, perhaps respect or a challenge. "It's a tough world out there. You must be idealistic," he said flatly. Jacob smiled faintly. "Perhaps, but idealism fuels change. It's what keeps the fire burning." Kincaid raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Fire, huh? You think that will change the world?" Jacob met his gaze in the rearview mirror. "No, but it can inspire others to change their little corners. That's where it begins." The conversation shifted as they approached Jacob's apartment. He directed Kincaid to stop outside. "Thank you for the ride," he said, feeling a wave of relief as he opened the door. Kincaid paused, seemingly lost in thought. "I'll tell you what, Reynolds. I'll donate a significant sum to your school if you can convince me that teaching is worth it." Jacob hesitated, unsure if this was a jest. "Why would you care?" "Maybe I'm curious," Kincaid replied, his tone serious now. "Or maybe I just want to see if you can back up your words." Jacob's heart pounded. This was an opportunity, but it felt like a gamble. "You give me a week. If I can't convince you, I won't ask for a dime. But if I succeed, I want you to promise to invest in the school's future." Kincaid smirked. "Deal." And just like that, Jacob found himself standing at the crossroads of challenge and hope. That night, under the dim glow of a single lamp in his small apartment, Jacob wrote furiously. He drafted a proposal outlining the importance of education, the impact of mentorship, and the resilience embedded within the walls of Emerson Academy. He poured his heart into each word, fueled by the thought of his students, those who dreamed of possibilities that felt just out of reach. As days passed, Jacob transformed his classroom into a hub of creativity and passion. He organized workshops where students could express themselves through art, writing, and debate. He invited guest speakers, instilling hope in those who thought life had set limits on their dreams. The energy in the classroom surged. Students began to share their aspirations openly, dreaming bigger than ever before. On the 5th day, Jacob met Kincaid at a local cafe, his heart racing with anticipation. "I'm ready," he said confidently, sliding the proposal across the table. "But it's not just about what's on that paper. It's about the lives we touch." Kincaid glanced at the proposal, then back at Jacob. "So why should I care about your students? What makes them special?" Jacob took a deep breath, recalling the faces of his students, their struggles, dreams, and triumphs. He spoke passionately about Maria, who had overcome a learning disability, and Malik, who was caring for his siblings while excelling academically. He shared stories of determination, resilience, and heartfelt kindness. Kincaid listened intently, a mix of skepticism and intrigue on his face. "You're asking me to believe in a system that's failing, Reynolds." "Every system has flaws," Jacob replied, leaning forward. "But within that system are sparks of hope. If we invest in them, they can become beacons for change." Silence enveloped the table as Kincaid contemplated Jacob's words. "You really believe that?" "I do," Jacob said, his voice unwavering. "Teaching isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Investing in education is investing in a brighter future for everyone." Kincaid fell silent again, the weight of Jacob's passion resonating in the air. Finally, he nodded, a slow smile forming on his lips. "All right, Reynolds, I'll support your cause." In that moment, as the cafe buzzed around them, Jacob felt an overwhelming sense of relief mixed with disbelief. He had turned a challenge into an opportunity, igniting a spark of hope not just for his students, but for himself. The journey was far from over, but with every struggle and every triumph, Jacob was reminded that resilience often redefined the paths we walk. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a transformation that would ripple beyond the walls of Emerson Academy, touching hearts and inspiring change in ways he had never imagined. As the weeks passed, Emerson Academy began to transform in ways Jacob once only dared to dream. The funding from Kincaid arrived, and with it, a renewed sense of purpose. Walls that had once echoed with silence now vibrated with energy and laughter. Students who had once felt lost began to find their voices. One sunny afternoon, Jacob stepped into his classroom, greeted by a flurry of activity. Students were working on a mural, their vibrant colors splashing across the once dull walls. Maria, her curly hair bouncing as she mixed paint, turned to Jacob. "Mr. Reynolds, look, this is going to be our tribute to the heroes of our community." Jacob smiled widely, his heart swelling with pride. "That's beautiful, Maria. Each of you is a hero in your own way. Don't forget that." As the school year progressed, Jacob also launched a mentorship program, pairing students with local professionals. The idea was simple: expose them to the world beyond their neighborhoods. It was a chance to ignite their aspirations. He believed that everyone deserved a mentor who could illuminate paths they had yet to envision. One day, during a lunch break, Malik approached Jacob, his brows furrowed in thought. Mr. Reynolds, I was paired with a lawyer for the mentorship program, but she's so busy with her own life. I don't think she has time for me." Jacob leaned back in his chair, considering Malik's words. Life can be hectic, Malik. But sometimes we have to take initiative. Reach out to her. Set up a meeting. You matter too. Malik nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his eyes. What if she's not interested in me? Then you'll find someone else who is, Jacob replied. Believe in yourself. You have so much potential, and someone will see that if you let them. With encouragement from Jacob, Malik took a deep breath and reached out to his mentor. Days later, he returned, beaming with excitement. She wants to meet. We're going to discuss her work and how I can get involved. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Jacob clapped Malik on the shoulder, pride radiating from him. That's the spirit. Remember, the world needs young leaders like you. As the seasons changed, so did the stories within the walls of Emerson Academy. Jacob witnessed transformations that left him in awe. He watched Maria grow more confident as she took charge of the mural project, inspiring others to contribute. Malik's enthusiasm for law ignited a spark among his peers, and students began to envision careers that once felt unattainable. However, while the school thrived, Jacob faced a personal challenge. The bills were still looming over him, and the pressure of living on a teacher's salary weighed heavily. He began to cut back on essentials, often skipping meals to make ends meet. He felt ashamed, knowing he had invested so much into his students' futures, yet struggled to secure his own. One evening, as he sat in his darkened apartment, Jacob received a call from Kincaid. Jacob, I've been hearing great things about Emerson. I'd like to come by and see the changes for myself. Of course, I'd love to show you everything, Jacob replied, his heart racing with anticipation. The next day, Kincaid arrived at the school, his presence instantly commanding attention. Jacob led him through the halls, highlighting the mural, the mentorship program, and the flourishing garden where students were learning to cultivate their own food. Kincaid's eyes widened as he absorbed the palpable energy. This is impressive, Kincaid admitted, a hint of admiration in his voice. You've really ignited something here. Thank you, Jacob replied, feeling a mixture of pride and vulnerability. But there's still so much more we could do if we had additional resources. Kincaid nodded thoughtfully. I'm in a position to help, but I need to know this isn't just a one-time investment. I want to see sustainability. I understand, Jacob said, his heart racing. We're working on creating a community partnership with local businesses to ensure ongoing support, but we need a boost to get off the ground. Kincaid considered this, his silence heavy with contemplation. I'll make a larger investment, but I want you to outline a long-term plan. Show me how you'll maintain what you've built. Jacob felt a wave of hope wash over him. I promise I'll put together a comprehensive plan. Thank you for believing in us. As they spoke, the students gathered in the courtyard, their laughter echoing like music. Jacob's heart warmed. He turned back to Kincaid. You see those kids? They are the future. They just need someone to believe in them. Kincaid observed the students, his expression softening. You're really committed to this, aren't you? With every ounce of my being, Jacob said firmly. I believe in the power of education and the beauty of potential. The days turned into weeks as Jacob diligently crafted the plan. He met with local businesses, parents, and community leaders to discuss sustainable models for support. They brainstormed fundraising events and workshops that would keep the momentum alive. However, the personal toll was beginning to show. Jacob's health declined as the stress mounted. He struggled with fatigue, often losing himself in thoughts of his students. One evening, after a particularly long day, he collapsed on his couch, tears streaming down his face. He felt like he was teetering on the edge of his limits. Just then, he received a message from Maria. Mr. Reynolds, we're worried about you. You're always there for us. We want to be there for you too. Jacob felt a mix of gratitude and embarrassment. He replied, Thank you, Maria. I appreciate your concern, just a tough week. But the next day, Maria and Malik showed up at his apartment with groceries and a homemade meal. "You can't keep skipping meals, Mr. Reynolds," Malik said, his voice strong. "We want to help you like you help us." Jacob was overwhelmed. "You all are incredible, but I don't want to burden you." "Too late," Maria grinned. "We're here, and we're not leaving until you eat." And so, over bowls of soup and laughter, Jacob felt the warmth of community envelop him. He realized that resilience wasn't just about enduring struggles alone. It was about leaning on those around you. With renewed strength, he pressed forward with his plan. Kincaid was impressed with Jacob's vision, and soon the community's support blossomed. Local businesses began sponsoring events, and parents became actively involved, organizing fundraisers to sustain the initiatives. Each small victory fueled Jacob's spirit. He began to feel the weight of his burdens lighten, sharing the responsibility with those around him. One afternoon, Kincaid returned to the school to see the progress firsthand. As he walked through the halls, he was met by enthusiastic students sharing their experiences. Jacob watched as Kincaid engaged with the students, a flicker of transformation evident in his demeanor. "How do you feel about this place now?" Jacob asked, a slight smile playing on his lips. Kincaid chuckled. "I must admit, it's more inspiring than I anticipated." "You've created a movement here, Jacob." "It's not just me," Jacob replied, gesturing around. "It's a collective effort. Together we are building something lasting." As the school year neared its end, Jacob realized that while challenges would always exist, hope and resilience could be cultivated in the most unlikely of places. Every student, every mentor, and every advocate became part of the tapestry woven together by dreams and aspirations. On the last day of school, Jacob stood in front of his students, their faces glowing with excitement. "This isn't just an ending, it's a beginning. You are equipped with the tools to create change in your world." As they cheered, Jacob felt tears well up in his eyes. Hope had flourished in the garden of their hearts. They had learned that amidst struggles, kindness can bloom, and resilience can shine through even the darkest days. And standing among them, Jacob knew the beauty of the human spirit was limitless. His journey as a teacher had transformed into a shared adventure, illuminating paths for generations to come. As summer dawned, Emerson Academy buzzed with the infectious excitement of youth. The halls echoed with laughter and students darted about, their faces lit with the promise of a new adventure. Jacob Reynolds stood at the entrance, greeting each student with a wide smile. His heart swelled with pride as he watched the children he had invested so much into, now brimming with confidence and enthusiasm. Yet, as the world around him flourished, he felt a pang of nostalgia. The promise of summer vacation brought mixed feelings. While he cherished the time to rest, he also knew many of his students faced challenges at home that would not take a break. The realities of their lives often weighed heavier than summer's carefree spirit. As days passed, Jacob organized a summer program offering mentorship, literacy workshops, and artistic expression. "We can't stop just because school's out," he explained to Maria and Malik one afternoon as they brainstormed ideas for the program. "Let's create a space where our students can explore their passions." "I love it," Maria exclaimed, her eyes gleaming. "We should have a talent showcase at the end of the summer." "Definitely. Let's show off what we can do together," Malik added, his enthusiasm infectious. That evening, Jacob returned home exhausted but invigorated. The program was ambitious, and his heart raced with the thought of how to fund it. But he was determined. He remembered Kincaid's investment, aware that it provided a lifeline for the school, yet he wanted to explore new avenues for support. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jacob scheduled a meeting with local businesses, eager to articulate the vision of a summer program that could nurture not only academic growth, but also creativity and community bonding. He prepared meticulously, crafting a proposal that highlighted the impact of mentorship on youth. On the day of the meeting, he stood in front of a small group of business owners, his palms slightly damp with nervousness. "Thank you all for coming. I believe our community has untapped potential," Jacob began, his voice steady. By investing in our youth, we can pave the way for a brighter future. As he spoke passionately about the students, about their hopes, struggles, and dreams, he caught sight of an older gentleman at the back of the room. His brow was furrowed, skepticism etched across his face. Jacob pressed on, sharing the stories of Maria and Malik, detailing how they had transformed through mentorship and how this summer program could further elevate them and their peers. After his presentation, the room fell silent for what felt like an eternity. Finally, the older gentleman stood up, his voice gruff yet curious. "You really believe these kids will put in the work? What makes you think they'll show up?" Jacob felt a wave of doubt wash over him, yet he stood firm. "Because I've seen them rise to challenges time and again. Kids like Malik, he's juggling responsibilities but still dreams of being a lawyer. They just need the opportunity and support." A flicker of understanding passed through the audience. The older gentleman nodded slowly. "All right, I'm willing to give it a shot." With that, several businesses joined in, committing resources for the summer program. Jacob felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. Each partnership represented not just funding, but a shared belief in the potential of their children. As the program launched, the energy at Emerson Academy was palpable. Children flooded the hallways, eager to participate in painting, coding, writing, and debate workshops. Jacob's heart brimmed with joy as he watched his students flourish in their newfound environment. One afternoon, as students showcased their artwork on the walls, Maria's mural stood out in vibrant colors, a stunning representation of their community's resilience. Jacob beamed with pride as he observed Maria explaining her vision to fellow students. "This mural isn't just colors, it's our story. It shows that no matter our struggles, we can rise together." Amidst the joy, however, Jacob still felt the lingering weight of his personal challenges. The bills were unrelenting, and the pressure to keep the program thriving weighed heavily on him. One evening, after a long day of mentoring, he sank into the worn sofa of his apartment, feeling the fatigue settle into his bones. Suddenly, a knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. It was Malik and Maria, their faces lit with enthusiasm. "Mr. Reynolds, we've been working on something special for the talent showcase," Maria exclaimed. They entered with a colorful banner and posters filled with ideas for the event. Jacob couldn't help but smile despite his exhaustion. "What do you have in mind?" "We want a night of stories, dance, and music. Everyone can showcase their talents," Malik said, his excitement infectious. "And we thought we could charge a small entry fee to help raise money for the school." "That's brilliant," Jacob responded, the idea igniting new energy within him. "Let's do it." As they worked tirelessly to prepare for the showcase, Jacob's mood began to lift. The students' sheer determination and creativity reminded him of the resilience that had always existed within them. They were not just learning, they were growing, and they were doing it together. The night of the talent showcase arrived, and the auditorium buzzed with energy. Families filled the seats, eager to support their children. Jacob stood backstage, pride swelling in his chest as he watched Maria showcase her mural, explaining the symbolism behind each stroke of paint. Then came Malik, who confidently recited a poem he had written about dreams and determination. "Sometimes the world tries to tell you who you are," he began, pausing to look out at the sea of faces. "But we get to choose our own paths." Tears glistened in Jacob's eyes as he listened, realizing the impact they were making. This was more than an event. It was a celebration of their growth, a testament to the strength they had cultivated together. As the night drew to a close, Jacob stepped to the front of the stage, heart racing. "Tonight is a reminder of the incredible power that lies within each of us," he said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Together, we find our voices. Together, we can create change." The audience erupted in applause, and Jacob felt a wave of hope wash over him. The journey was fraught with challenges, yet here they were, standing united, igniting a spark of inspiration in one another. As summer continued, the program flourished. Jacob's heart felt lighter with each passing day, buoyed by the community's support and the students' achievements. However, As preparations for the next school year began, he knew he couldn't sustain all of this alone. One afternoon, Kincaid visited the school. Jacob was surprised but welcomed him warmly. "I wanted to see what you've accomplished," Kincaid stated, surveying the bustling environment. "I've been hearing amazing things." Jacob shared the stories of the summer program, the successes, and the impact it had on the students. Kincaid listened intently, a look of contemplation on his face. "You've created something truly special here," he said finally. "What's next?" Jacob took a deep breath, ready to share his vision for the coming year. "I dream of expanding our mentorship program, connecting students with professionals who can guide them in their career paths. We want to make it sustainable, ensuring their growth continues." Kincaid nodded, a hint of admiration in his eyes. "I can help with that. Let's discuss a long-term funding strategy." As their conversation unfolded, Jacob felt a swell of gratitude again. Kincaid's willingness to invest further into the school was a testament to the transformation he had undergone. They brainstormed ideas, Kincaid offering insights and connections that could lead to additional partnerships. In the months that followed, Jacob's vision took flight. The mentorship program expanded, and the students continued to thrive, empowered by the belief that their dreams were within reach. Each day brought new challenges, yet Jacob faced them with resilience and determination, knowing he wasn't alone. As the school year began, Jacob stood in front of his class, his heart full. "This is a new chapter, and each of you plays a vital role in our story. Together, we will continue to inspire one another." The students nodded, their faces shining with possibility. They had learned to embrace challenges, support one another, and find strength in community, values that would carry them through life. And so, the journey continued. Jacob's path as a teacher intertwined with that of his students, a beautiful tapestry woven with hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of kindness. They had learned that through struggle, dreams could be forged, and that together they could illuminate the world around them, one story at a time. As the crisp autumn air swept through the corridors of Emerson Academy, Jacob Reynolds felt a surge of excitement mingled with apprehension. The school year had begun with a whirlwind of activity, and he was determined to make it a transformative one for his students. The classroom buzzed with chatter, the walls adorned with vibrant artwork, and the scent of freshly ordered supplies lingered in the air. In many ways, a palpable energy filled the school, echoing the spirit of hope that had blossomed over the summer. "Mr. Reynolds, can we start planning the community project today?" Maria asked, her eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "Absolutely. We can brainstorm ideas together," Jacob replied, smiling at her eagerness. "What do you envision?" "I think we should focus on something that helps people in our neighborhood, like a food drive or a cleanup campaign," she suggested, her passion resonating with Jacob. "That's a wonderful idea," he responded. "But let's expand on it. How about we combine both? We can organize a community cleanup day and collect food donations at the same time." Malik chimed in, "We could create posters and get the word out. I can talk to my dad about using his truck to collect the donations." "Perfect," Jacob encouraged. "Let's put a plan together. I want everyone involved. Students, families, and even local businesses. This should be a collective effort." As they mapped out their ideas, Jacob felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. He had witnessed the transformation of these students, many of whom had once felt unseen and unheard. Maria and Malik were no longer just students. They were young leaders, not just beneficiaries of kindness, but active participants in creating it. However, amidst the excitement, Jacob could shake off the weight of his responsibilities. The bills still loomed large, and he often found himself skimping on groceries just to ensure he could fund supplies for his students. Each month felt like a balancing act, but he remained determined to support his students as best as he could. That evening, as he sat at his kitchen table, bills piled high alongside his lesson plans. A soft knock broke his concentration. He opened the door to find Maria and Malik, beaming with energy and excitement. "Mr. Reynolds, we're ready to start making our posters for the community project." Maria announced. "Right now?" Jacob asked, surprised but grateful for their enthusiasm. "Absolutely. We just want to get things rolling," Malik replied, his face aglow. "We even brought supplies." Jacob's heart swelled. "Okay, come on in. Let's turn this into a real brainstorming session." The trio spent the next few hours creating posters filled with colorful drawings and bold lettering, each reflecting their goal of uniting the community. Laughter filled the room as they shared stories. But amid the joy, Jacob's heart tugged at the thought of the challenges ahead. Days turned into weeks, and the community cleanup and food drive day approached. The students were buzzing with anticipation, but Jacob could sense the underlying pressure mounting on him. The program's success hinged on his ability to coordinate not just the event, but also the ongoing engagement of the community. As the event day dawned, Jacob stood outside the school, watching families arrive with bags of food and enthusiasm etched on their faces. Children ran around, their laughter echoing against the backdrop of the vibrant autumn leaves. "Mr. Reynolds," Malik shouted, running up to him, a cardboard box in his arms. "Look at all the food we collected." Jacob knelt down to inspect the box filled with canned goods. "This is incredible, Malik. You've outdone yourself." Maria joined them, a big smile on her face. "I can't believe how many people showed up. I saw our neighbors from all over the block." As they prepared for the day, Jacob felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. This was the essence of community, the way they came together to uplift one another. However, the nagging burden of his personal struggles loomed in his mind, yet he pushed those thoughts aside. Today was a day for action, not despair. As the cleanup began, Jacob assigned roles to students, pairing them with community members who had volunteered. It was heartwarming to witness strangers bonding over shared tasks, laughter and encouragement filling the air. Jacob's heart swelled with joy, seeing how the seeds of kindness they had nurtured were blooming into a beautiful reality. Yet, as he looked out at the scene unfolding before him, he felt an unexpected heaviness in his chest. A wave of exhaustion crashed over him. He had been so focused on his students that he had neglected his own well-being. Ignoring his fatigue, he pressed on, determined to make this day a success. As the event wrapped up, the results were staggering. They collected food donations that far exceeded their expectations, and the school grounds sparkled from the cleanup efforts. Jacob couldn't help but feel proud of his students and the community. But later that evening, as he sat in his living room surrounded by boxes of food, he felt the exhaustion catch up with him. It was then that he received a call from Kincaid. "Jacob, I've been hearing wonderful things about that community project. Congratulations." Kincaid's voice was warm with sincerity. "Thank you, Victor. It was a great day for everyone," Jacob replied, feeling a glimmer of pride. "Let's meet soon. I'd like to discuss some further support for your efforts," Kincaid suggested, and Jacob felt a surge of hope. As they met the following week, Kincaid arrived with a sense of purpose. "I've seen the ripple effect your programs have created. I want to help sustain that." Jacob leaned forward, excitement bubbling within him. "I appreciate that, Victor. We've built something valuable, and I want to ensure it continues to thrive." Kincaid nodded, his seriousness etched on his face. "I believe we can create partnerships that not only fund these programs, but involve the community in a tangible way. We need to make education a priority in people's minds." Jacob felt a sense of relief wash over him. "That would be amazing, but we'll need to engage more local businesses, get them invested not just financially, but personally." "It's doable," Kincaid assured him. "Let's put a plan together." As weeks turned into months, Jacob and Kincaid worked tirelessly to forge new partnerships. Local businesses began sponsoring events, and the community felt more invested in their children's education than ever before. Jacob's heart swelled each time he saw students thriving, their dreams becoming tangible realities. However, Jacob's personal struggles still lingered, hidden beneath the surface. He continued to skip meals and stretch his budget thin, often feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. One evening, Maria and Malik surprised him at his apartment again, this time with a tray of homemade cookies. "We were worried about you," Maria said, her brow furrowed with concern. "You need to take care of yourself too." Jacob chuckled, feeling warmth spread through him. "You two are wonderful." "Thank you, but I'm fine." "Yeah, right," Malik teased. "You're always there for us. Let us be there for you too." As they shared the cookies, Jacob felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. This was the essence of community, the way they lifted one another up. The days continued to blend together, and as the school year progressed, Jacob noticed a remarkable shift. The students were thriving, and their spirits were lifted. They had woven a safety net of support for one another, reminding Jacob that resilience was about leaning on each other. One afternoon, as they prepared for an upcoming parent-teacher conference, Jacob found himself reflecting on the collective journey they had undertaken. The challenges had been many, but hope had illuminated every path they walked together. As parents filled the classroom that evening, he felt a wave of pride wash over him. They were united in a common goal: supporting their children. "Thank you for being here tonight," he began, his heart racing. "Together, we've created something special at Emerson Academy. Your involvement is essential to our progress." The room was filled with nods of agreement and murmurs of encouragement. Jacob felt the warmth of community envelop him, igniting a renewed sense of purpose. As he stepped outside, the night sky twinkling overhead, he realized that he was no longer just a teacher. He had become a catalyst for change. The journey had been fraught with challenges, yet in every struggle he had found resilience, strength, and a community that had embraced their shared dreams. In that moment, Jacob understood that the beauty of the human spirit was limitless. Together, they had learned to rise above adversity, nurturing hope, kindness, and unwavering belief in one another. Each challenge had become a stepping stone, forging a path toward a brighter future for every student, every family, and every corner of their vibrant community. As he rode home that night, the breeze caressing his face, Jacob smiled. The future was bright, and together, they were just getting started.